Now, the last thing we're going to be doing is taking a look at some of the text in the footer area, and we'll style that as well. One of the things you'll notice right off the bat is that these little headlines in here are center aligned. Now, you might be wondering, why is that? Well, remember, the area up on top is a section area as well. These are all section tags. And so too are there section tags in the bottom of the footer area. Now if we go to the code view, you can see this as well, right? So there's the footer area, and it's a section with the class footbox. Same thing with all these other ones here. So what does that mean for us? Well, if we go into our CSS and you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that we really only have footer information in place, which is just clearing both and doing its thing. Now, sections on their own, you might be wondering, how come they're floating on the left? So we got 3 of them. Well, do remember, any section, whether it has a custom class or not, is currently set to float left. So that's why it's doing it, and it's currently set to be 320 pixels. So that was just a little way that we can make things work continuously over many, many different examples. So if we go to the design view and we click in here, as I mentioned, notice anytime you click in an area, even down here you can see what the tags are. We're in an area called a H4. So let's see how we can address that. We'll go to our CSS. Even if you scroll down to the bottom, it's in the footer that we're going to be doing stuff. So I'll come here and say new CSS rule. Well, we don't have to be so specific, so we'll be less specific, but check it out. It's saying within the footer, there's a class called footbox, any H4 inside footbox, and that's exactly what we're addressing. So we'll come here and we'll click OK, and what we're going to see is the category called block, and in that category, text align will be set to left. Let's apply that and see what happens. Beautiful. Exactly what we wanted to do. So even though it was inheriting some of the other elements above, we can specify that this one in particular, and by extension all of the H4s in here, are going to look a little bit better. Then we'll go to the category called type, and in the category called type, there's just a couple of things that I want to be doing. First of all, I think I will set the font family. Now, just to throw in something a little bit different, right? I've created one that has slab serif. So Avro Regular is one of the fonts that we loaded up, and Courier New would be the second one, or Courier, or any monospace font. Now, again, I'm not particularly a fan of using 4 or 5 different sets of fonts in any one given design. I'm just kind of going a little overboard here to show you how you can go nuts with fonts if you wanted to. But generally speaking, 2 different fonts for contrast is great. 3 tops. But nevertheless, let's take a look. We've got Avro in place. If I were to click on the apply, now you can see that these are all slab serifs, or typewriter type fonts. Good. Then the only other thing I want to be doing with this area is we still want it to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to say 0.9 ems. 0.9 ems will make them a little bit smaller, as you can see here. And if you find that that's a little too small, that's fine. You can come in here and change it. I think I'll actually put it at 1.2, and we'll press apply. And I think that'll do a little bit better. Now you can make it whatever color you want. I could come in here and say, hey, let's try it as white, and sort of see what that looks like. It's perfectly fine. It's really up to you. But I think I'll just keep it as the dark for the moment, and I'll press apply. Okay, so that's pretty much all I really wanted to do here. I'm happy with the amount of margin after it, and now we just want to target some of those paragraphs that are in here as well. So I'll click OK, I'll click inside one of these paragraphs, and then I'll come to my new CSS styles, say new rule, and in here we don't have to be so specific, just target the footer, anything with the class called footbox, the P's inside of them. I'll click OK, and in here I want this to be the Museo font, which should be already inheriting, so there it is, no problem there. But let's make it a little bit smaller, 0.75, just like what we had on the other side, not pixels, yikes, look how small that got, but rather ems. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have that in place, it's really just a matter of determining how much margin space you want to have in there. Notice these are paragraphs here too where it says name, and if you wish you could go to the box area category, and under margin you could say something really nice and gentle like 4 pixels should be enough. There you go, just a little bit of extra space after our paragraphs. So if you click OK, we've pretty much got what we want. Now if you're worried about the color issue here, not to worry, because you could always just, here I'm going to move the clear back down so all the footer information is together. As I said, you could just click on footer and you could say, hey, you know, I want it to be same color the whole way through, and that's what happens right here. So now we've got all of these elements styled. When we come back in the next chapter, we're going to proceed with a much more intricate design, which is building upon everything we've done up to this point. We're going to explore a little bit more with positioning. We're going to explore a little bit more with typography, as we've done in this most recent chapter, and we'll put in some images to make that particular design look a whole lot better and turn it into something that looks a little bit more sophisticated than what we have here. So come back in the next video.